We are the Mystery Lights, and welcome to the Blues Kitchen.
The Mystery Lights are currently on the road in support of their new album, Too Much Tension, out now on Wick Records. The excellent LP is overflowing with soulful garage, rock and roll and psychedelia. The band tell us about cutting the album at Daptone's House of Soul studio in Brooklyn, and they perform a frenetic version of 122 Hours of Fear, originally by the Screamers. And while you're watching, like this video and subscribe to the channel for regular episodes of The Blues Kitchen Presents. Mystery Lights,
Hey.
how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Welcome to the Blues Kitchen.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys today. Like last time you came through town, it was like a whistle stop. We had you for like 15 minutes or something at that new club. So I want to start. Congratulations on this. This is an amazing record, your second Daptone and Wick release. It feels a little bit different to your first record. One of the tracks you did today, doing Someone Else Is in Control, kind of has a bit of a slightly kind of paranoid, maybe kind of anxious feel to it, both in the way you deliver the vocals and the guitar parts as well. And I don't know, it just feels a little bit more kind of like uptight. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but is that something you were feeling when you were making the record?
Yeah, too much tension.
There you go.
Yeah, 100%. Like we made this over a 3-year span because after the first one, we were just touring nonstop on the first. And so, we'd come home and like coming off a tour, exhausted, then we go in the studio, sort of inspired, but like also sort of like music just 24/7 pretty much with no breaks.
Yeah.
So we'd only get to like record for a week, and we'd, be trying to like kind of get it done before we go on the next tour, but also take our time and And over the 3 years, our styles would change after every tour. We'd have new inspiration. We'd come and like, I think it's just, it goes with the flow of like our progression slowly,
Yeah, of course. A second record's always a bit of a mad one because in many ways, everyone's first album is kind of like a greatest hits of their life so far. You can cherry pick everything you've done as a band up until this point. Now, you did say you had 3 years of kind of slowly putting this together, but was the songwriting wildly different to when you were doing your first album?
No, I mean, there's a lot more, no, not too much. I mean, he had a bunch of instrumental ideas, and like he would record them. We had this Tascam 388, and then I would come home and like listen to it, and then like I'd be on the subway and come up with like a vocal melody and run home, and there was a lot of that. Like he brought a lot of instrumentals there, and there was a couple songs that we've just had for a while that I wrote that was like that I brought that. Everyone had like a lot of say in each song, which is nice. It was more.
It was sort of a departure from the first like record too, just because I think everyone sort of pigeonholed the first one in as like a 60s like Nuggets kind of
60s
style.
garage band thing.
Yeah.
Which that one has it too, but I think we were like attempting to get a little like branch out a little bit. From that.
Yeah, and like all great records, I think what you've done with this is that you have kind of one foot very firmly influenced by that 60s Nugget stuff, as you were saying, and all the the Count 5 and Psychotic Reaction. Like I always think of that tune when I think of you guys. But like a lot of the people that you share a label with, it's still very much forward thinking. It's like, okay, well this stuff was great and we're into this, but you sound like the future as well. You don't just sound like the past.
Well, we never really tried to sound like that. I think it was just we grew up on like old hard hitting like garage rock.
Yeah.
That was more punk than anything. I mean, that's how I got into like the garage stuff is, it like started off with like punk music, and then got introduced to like the 60s hard hitting like Nugget stuff, and I said, oh, this is like more punk. It's got more, it was driving just as hard.
It's an attitude, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Rather than the sound a lot of the time.
That's exactly it.
Also, the guy who showed us Nuggets was our old bass player in high school, who like was like an oi punk. Like the first time I saw him, he had like studded vest and like shaved head, and he brought the Nuggets comp over, so it was like a good example of like he was really into like that kind of stuff. So that it all seemed the same.
Listening to that also all the time, and then being like, hey, let's start our own band. It's gonna sound a little like that because that's why you're starting the band. But also, our inspirations were so all over the place that it's kind of hard to just sound like that. Which is a lot like on the new record. We listen to a lot of post punk and a lot of like Can and a lot of hip hop and some weird electronic stuff. And luckily enough, Wick is very, very like cool with
Open-minded.
us. Open-minded with us, kind of pushing the bounds of.
I can't imagine that Wick as a label have too many rules, right? Like, as long as the vibe is there, surely those guys are sound.
I think that's all they want is the vibe. It's like, yeah.
The first record, I feel like we thought that's what they wanted almost. Like.
Oh, really?
And then some of the songs that were like more like punk or something, like those guys were like, let's do more of that stuff. Or whatever,
we tiptoed over to them to show them, and we're like, oh great, here we go, get the boot soon, and then Neil's like, yeah, man, yeah. So it's cool. It's good.
Yeah, of all people, Neil Sugarman seemed to like
really
shout out. More, yeah.
So on the Daptone thing, you were saying before the cameras were rolling, before you actually cut your tunes today as well, this is where you made the album as well. You went into the Daptone studio, which everyone associates with being the kind of house of soul.
Yeah.
So you were just saying about having electronic, hip hop, punk influences. You go into the soul studio and come out with this kind of futuristic kind of garage can record in the midst of it all.
I think that's like all soulful though, like hip hop and all that. It's just a feeling really. It's just like punk. It's I don't know. There's like the what's the Frighteners record. You can say it's like reggae. It's like fits perfectly with like Daptone. It's very soulful.
Of course.
And I think that's what they tried. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for them, but that's like what they try to keep in the bands that they bring on. And all the other stuff on Wick, to me, in my opinion, is like has a lot of guts.
Yeah.
Like, there's the Archaics and
And Wayne Gordon, our producer, wants to do weirder stuff every time. So.
Well, I wanted to bring up Wayne because I haven't met him personally, but a lot of bands that I kind of come into contact with, whether I'm in the States or over here, he seems to be this kind of real nurturing figure because he's got the venue, Our Wicked Lady, isn't it, where you guys play, and it's kind of the home of Jonathan Tobin's Night Train stuff. I think he does shows and stuff there sometimes. And obviously he's a producer in the studio and that kind of stuff. So is he like the kind of dad, if you like, of the scene? Is he kind of nurturing you all along?
He's in the back. He's on the back.
Oh, is he?
He's on the front too.
He's got the third eye there.
Right. He's there. Okay, cool.
He's right there too.
He's
probably in here somewhere too. I forget.
He is. He's like the guru.
Guru.
Yeah,
okay.
I would say he's like kind of like the Yoda of he's that kind of producer to us, and like we'll go to him for advice and all that kind of stuff, and he guides us and tries to like push us harder to get a little crazier and weirder, and if we feel he knows when something's off, like we'll play a show and he'll be in the crowd, and then he'll just like it's like it's all right. Yeah, you can do better.
He's mysterious too. He doesn't give away too much. So
can we talk about the cover you guys did as well, which is absolutely killer? 122 Hours of Fear by, remind me, because you put me onto this morning. Like, it's a band I'd never come across, but in my brief reading, I understand they were making kind of electronic punk-ish in quite early days, that kind of music, about 74, 75.
I guess like late 70s or something. Yeah, they were, I don't think they ever put out an actual record or anything. They're like, only recordings or like bootlegs or like, they were doing like, it was like VHS age, so like all the stuff you find is like video content.
Okay, I did manage to find something online.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in like San Francisco and Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But there's like some good like bootleg comps now you can buy that are really good.
And how did you guys discover him?
I think our old keyboard player Kevin actually turned us on to them. And then like the logo is by a guy named Gary Panther who like...
Your logo or their logo?
No, their logo, like the face. And
the front cover.
He was involved with a magazine called Slash Magazine. That's like a punk magazine from LA that has a lot of really good stuff in it.
Yeah.
That, you could find, it was just like the LA punk like scene of the like 70s, 80s.
I always ask people maybe what they kind of learnt from either performing the cover or learning the tune. Is there anything that you took away from kind of learning that tune for the set? But I don't know if you learned it for the session or if you've done it before.
We've done it before. I think we just learned it on tour a few years ago. But it's weird because it's like it's kind of like blasphemous because it's like a no guitar song.
Yeah.
And like I think that was the point that they didn't use guitars. And
yeah.
So it feels kind of funny. Like
it's kind of got a bit of a krautrock vibe.
A little bit.
It's one of my favorite. There's that video on YouTube. If you look up Screamers 102 Hours of Fear, and it's like a clip I think from I'm not really sure where it came from exactly, but it's cool because the band is like driving, you know, and he's just standing still with his back away from the camera, and it's just kind of slowly zooming out.
On that synth intro bit at the beginning, the keys bit.
And it's just, well, no, even when it starts driving, it's just not moving and he's just standing there. And then as soon as the band stops and he turns around to give the first line, it's just with like, it's like everything that he's got, and he gives it, and then he stands up straight, and it's just the way he moves and the way he delivers it was extremely inspiring to me, you know, because you can have a lot of energy and a lot of effect on somebody without moving at all, you know what I mean? Just like, and he just had so much intensity, and that's why we were just like, we've got to cover this. And the fact that it was no guitars, we're like, perfect, it'll be a little more unique because we'll add guitars to it and we'll make it a little bit more, you know, our style, but
It's interesting what you're saying about his performance there. I kind of had this restraint, you know, stood there, which is kind of the opposite of you. Like, it's so excitable when you play. Like, it's such a joy. You guys came in here at 11 a.m. this morning to get set up and play. You've got a show tonight, but halfway through the first tune, you're already all over the shop. You know, it's like coming out of your bones.
It's a warm up. Yeah, I mean, I really respect that restraint though, and it's something that I would love to start to incorporate within myself. It's just like a lot more. When I get on stage, I start to play. I start to want. I have to, like a dog that's a little bit less trained. It's like jumping all over the place. But I was like, you know, more trained and more like. I don't know. I really enjoy that video specifically.
I'll check
it out if you haven't, viewers.
I think it'd be time for you to introduce your performance. That's cool.
We're the Mystery Lights, and this is our version of the Screamers' 122 Hours of Fear.
Subscribe to The Blues Kitchen for live performances and interviews with the hottest blues, soul, country and roots musicians in the world today.